Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome to the Youth Hub. My name is Aisha Saif Al-Hamrani. I'm from the Youth Office and I used to be a member in Ajman Youth Council. The office is led by Her Excellency Shamal Mazroui. We thank you for coming together today to celebrate the Singaporean National Day and the Union of Singaporean and Emirati Youth under one roof. I am greatly honored to have this opportunity to address youth of a great nations. I hope this celebration inspires fruitful conversations and rewarding collaborations. We will begin right now with the national anthem of the United Arab Emirates. And now with the national anthem of Singapore. Now, I would like to ask His Excellency Thani Ahmed Al-Zuyudi to come to the stage. He is the Minister of Climate Change and Environment for the United Arab Emirates.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Good evening. It's a great pleasure to be here this evening to celebrate the National Day of Singapore with you all. The UAE and Singapore established diplomatic relations in 1985. Since then, the bilateral relations between the two countries has continued to strive. Strong and mutually benefiting relations between the UAE and Singapore revolve around trade, commerce, and investments, and the UAE is Singapore's largest trading partner in the Middle East, with bilateral trading exceeding $16 billion a year. This has been expanded into fields such as financial technology, cybersecurity, and sustainable developments through our Singapore UAE joint committees. Now we are happy to be extending this relation into the youth sector, where the two countries share many similarities and share many key features. Singapore and the UAE youth set high goals for themselves from a young age, and both are deeply rooted and proud of their countries. Just like in Singapore, national pride is on the rise among youth in the UAE. Our National Identity Index, a composite indicator that measures the sense of belonging and national identity of Emiratis, is near 100%. Colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, the UAE is blessed with many international youth living here in the UAE. And the UAE youth are increasingly exposed to the diversity, and they are embracing it. Our youth are known for their tolerance, coexistence, and they are keen to engage with youth from all nationalities to equip themselves to share the story of the UAE. In their efforts to build the knowledge-based economy, Singapore and the UAE are committed to developing their most significant natural resources and the people. The majority of our population in the UAE is under the age of 35, and more than ever, we are devoted toward a socio-economic progression. We're developing our human capital, building the capabilities of our youth, and fostering our international partnerships. The UAE's founding father, the Sheikh Zayed bin Sultan Al Nahyan, had considered the environmental and sustainability and measures to minimize the impact of climate change at the core of every stage of the sustainable development in this country. The leadership in the UAE continues to invest in and strengthen this great heritage, and we have plenty of proof of the great interest given by the governments to empower the youth and transform our dreams into reality, and to direct the abilities of our youth in areas that positively affect the bright future of our country, the region, and the world. We are proud of the wonderful examples of young Emiratis excelled in their studies and their specialties. Their excellent efforts and experience through the dedication and hard work for self-development and service of the nation will allow you, the youth, to participate and take practical steps through the selection of relevant educational courses and working hard to develop your skills. You can compete to find innovative solutions to turn the challenges into opportunities for sustainable development of the country. Colleagues, today more than ever, the youth has to take the initiative to create a better future for the UAE. We have to do everything in our capacity to confront the urgent challenges of our time. Let's convert these challenges into opportunities and invest in promising sustainable projects of a thriving future economy locally and globally. The UAE and Singapore, both relatively young countries, are on a similar path to becoming global leaders and building best practices models of youth developments. This clearly reflects the strong bonds of friendships between the two countries, and they are poised to be further diverse and strengthened in months and years to come. I would like to end with a quote by Nelson Mandela, the greater leader and the former president of South Africa. To the youth of today, I also have a wish to make, to be the script writer of your destiny and feature yourselves as a star that showed the way toward a brighter future. I extend my thanks and appreciation to the Emirates Youth Council for organizing this event, led by Her Excellency Sham Al Mazrou'i. Happy National Day, Singapore, and I hope you enjoy the reminder of this evening. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Your Excellency, for your speech. Now, I would like to ask His Excellency Samuel Tan Chisi, Singapore's ambassador to the United Arab Emirates.
A very good evening, first of all, to His Excellency Dr. Tani, Minister of Climate Change and Environment. You have given us a great honor by your presence this evening, and I think it has made my National Day celebrations here even more special. I want to also thank our dear friends from the National Youth Council in the UAE, and our best regards also to Her Excellency Shamma Al-Mazuri, who also started the ball rolling with Singapore a bit earlier, and we certainly look forward to having more collaboration on the youth side. I was very pleased to hear that the National Youth Council of the UAE is also broadening its horizons and wanting to establish global partnerships around the world to expose and internationalize their youth. And this is very much part of what Singapore is also trying to do. And I think you will find a ready partner in Singapore for the UAE as well, in the youth side. One thing that is very special today also, and I want to take this opportunity to also share with all of you, is we had my colleague, the Consul General in Dubai, and myself. We were invited to a special contract signing this afternoon between a Singapore firm, RSP Architects. Some of you may be aware of their business here in the UAE. But this firm was asked to be the design lead consultant to the foundation that is building the Hindu temple here in Abu Dhabi. Some of you may be aware, during Prime Minister Modi's visit, they announced that they gotten the generous approval from the UAE government, and they've been gifted a land very close to the border of Abu Dhabi and Dubai for a Hindu temple to be built for the community. And the community has been, they shared with us that they've been waiting for quite a while. They were hoping for such a facility to be available for the community. And I think the fact that the Abu Dhabi government and His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan, the Crown Prince of Abu Dhabi, was instrumental in giving this land to the community. It says a lot about the belief and the commitment that the UAE government is with regard to tolerance, with regard to openness. And I think that is something which the Singapore shares very much. We believe that for us in Singapore, multiracialism, multi-ethnicity, interfaith tolerance and harmony is not something that we take for granted. I think it's essential for our survival. And what the UAE is doing, I think you have shown that you are the leader in this region with regard to this and in the world. And your initiatives, I think, speak volumes. And these gestures that you have made to the community, I think is wonderful. And I'm just very happy that a Singapore company has been asked to do this because they are obviously competent in doing it. They are well designed, good architects. But I think it gels very nicely with the story that Singapore and UAE, although we may be small, I think we can do a lot together. So on that note, I just want to thank again the National Youth Council for really hosting us in this wonderful facility. And to all my fellow Singaporeans, happy National Day. I hope you had a good time today despite, I guess, having to work. Forgive me for being in my National Day attire. Once a year I have to wear this, so thank you so much again.
Thank you, Your Excellency, for your speech. Right now, we would like to ask some of the Emirati and Singaporean youth to come to the platform to talk about their experience living in the UAE. So all the Singaporean brothers and sisters who are here are already living in the UAE, and we would like to know your experience here from a practical perspective and a cultural as well. And maybe possible opportunities between the Emirati and the Singaporean youth. So I would like to ask Maiden Naimi an Emirati youth working in Dubai. In leadership and governmental capabilities at the Prime Minister's office. He graduated in theory and policy from Boston University, USA, and he's 24 years old. Adil Nunes, 32. He is a cargo manager, Middle East and Africa at the Singapore Airlines, where he spent 3.5 years there. Lynn Hassim, 35. She is the head Middle East division, Radius Experiential, where she spent 5 years. And we have Josh Thayo. He's 34 years old. He's the head of HR, Kerry Group, with more than 1 year of experience there. Dinesh Sandran, he's 31 years old, assistant general manager at Pico International with 7 years experience. Dinesh Sandran, as well as myself, I'll talk about my experience when I visited Singapore. So let's all sit here and have a casual talk.
It's your national day, so you start first.
Where do I begin? Firstly, good evening, His Excellency Tani Ahmad Al-Ziyudi, His Excellency Hamilton, His Excellency Lopichen, to all distinguished guests and everyone attending, thank you for coming. First and foremost, my name is Adil Nunes. I've been based here for 3.5 years. I work for Singapore Airlines, and I'm the cargo manager overseeing Middle East and Africa region. Since I've been here since January 2015, so between then and now, I think I've come to realize that Dubai and Singapore, not that much difference in terms of many aspects. When I first arrived here, it seemed like a concrete jungle basically, with a bit more sand than Singapore. So that was the first impression. Secondly, transport networks, amenities, facilities, everything is pretty much a carbon copy, very similar. So in that respect, we can draw very close parallels. Another thing as well that I would like to share is when I first arrived here, basically I noticed that it's about 80% foreigners and 20% Emiratis, but basically a mixture of, it's a melting pot of different cultures. In Singapore, I think like His Excellency Hamilton mentioned, we have a very multiracial, multi-ethnic focus in the country. Here as well, there is that focus. So I think we can draw great positives from that. Apart from that, I would say like what His Excellency Hamilton mentioned as well, the size of our countries are small, but we are big in many respects. So we hope that we can garner more partnerships here on moving forward. From a personal experience, in case you guys don't know, I actually work in Sharjah, living in Dubai. So I have an office in Dubai and Sharjah. The main reason why Singapore Airlines Cargo Office is based in Sharjah is because of close cooperation that we have with Sharjah Airport Authority. On this respect, I think the culture here is very much relationship based. I think most of us would know the word wasta. So wasta, I think a lot of people misunderstand it to be connections, whereas my understanding for that word is basically a strong relationship to ensure good harmony, good working business relationship. So the reason why Singapore Airlines, well, not the reason why, one of the reasons why Singapore Airlines Cargo is based in Sharjah is because we've had a very good relationship with Sharjah Airport Authority. So myself, continuing that good relationship with His Excellency Sheikh Faisal Al-Qasimi and as well as His Excellency Dr. Ali Mitfah, to maintain that good harmonious relationship so that we have good business efficiencies. On the last point I'd like to add, being here in the UAE, of course, many different cultures, many different foods. I really enjoy the Indian food over here, just from a personal aspect. For the local cuisine, the only advice that I've gotten is to try the restaurant called Al Fanar. I've been there, I enjoyed it, but some people tell me it's not 100% authentic. So I think my humble request to the Emiratis out here, I don't really get to mix with Emiratis except from a working capacity. So on a personal capacity, it would be great if one of you could invite me to your house so that we can exchange cultural ideas. Food brings everyone together, I feel. Thank you very much.
I think I want to extend to everybody here, right?
Yes, yes, everyone. So with that, I'll end my talk. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh to all the excellencies. My name is Haslina Hasim actually, but my old boss in Singapore couldn't pronounce my name. I'm Malay Muslim, so she shortened it to Lin, and it just stuck with me for the past 10 years. So one of the things that I've learned, and further on from what I've been here for 5 years in Dubai. I came in June 2013. I was previously in Bahrain actually for 2 years, but somehow Dubai managed to entice me. And also my parents, one of the reasons was actually the safety at that period. So they were quite comfortable with me being in Dubai rather than Bahrain. And one of the good things that, as I said about safety-wise, is that being a female, I could just go out at 2 a.m. in the morning along Sheikh Zayed Road and I can still get food. And I can happily walk around anywhere, basically. It's safe for me to drive also on my own in the middle of the night. Though, yes, because back in Singapore, I do have curfews. So, a little bit of freedom over here. Yes, on top of that, going further in terms of what Aidil has mentioned about the transportation system, I do agree. And I'm very, very happy with the female cabin that you guys have. I don't usually take the metro, pardon me, but when I do, I really appreciate that I don't have to queue and stuff. Yeah. Apart from that, I think the other thing that I really love was I drive a lot, and the SMS technology that you guys have for the parking. That was the best. Yeah, we don't have that in Singapore until recently. So I was like telling everybody like, hey, it's easy. I don't have to pay parking coupon. We used to have parking coupons. It's still there. I don't know. And then we ended up having this electronic ERP system where you put in a card. Yeah, it's something similar like Salik. So you have to top up your things and stuff. But the SMS thing really works for me and I really love it. And I'm quite glad that Singapore finally have it. So yeah. That's my personal experience. And also, as a female in UAE, I would say, to further on is like coming here was quite easy to convince my parents because of the safety and the ease of basically like moving in from Singapore to here is just like what Adil say, concrete buildings, easy to find apartments. The apartments are pretty much similar to what Singapore has also, and it's just that instead of greeneries that we have, you get more sand, which is quite fun at times when you have thunderstorms and stuff. You don't really get that in Singapore. So yeah, that's my personal experience.
Very good evening, His Excellency. My name is Josh, and first off, thank you very much for hosting us here today. I actually came from home today, watching the National Day Parade. So I've got this whole sense of, I'm going to wear a red shirt today, and it's a big day for us. So thank you very much. So I moved to Dubai with my wife over there. That's the lady over there, Eve. If you could stand up. There you go. So we moved to Dubai about a year ago. We never really thought of Dubai as a place. So our company brought us over. We had a bit of a preview trip, and the minute we landed, in terms of the smoothness and the efficiencies of the airport, the baggage came really, really quickly. In my head, I was thinking, I'm a bit of an impatient person. This works for me. So, I've enjoyed it so far. I would like to share a little bit more around people and I guess the more cultural aspects to what I've experienced here in the last 1 year. I remember we arrived in June, so that was pretty much in the peak of summer, so it was quite hot. My wife and I decided, it's the weekend. It was Eid. I remember it was Eid. So why don't we go snorkeling? And on hindsight, I was thinking to myself, I think this was really a big mistake because we were on a dhow for 4 hours, and I was thinking to myself, it was so hot. But that pretty much taught us something, right? So when you go abroad or when you leave your home shores, take those steps forward. Whether they're mistakes or not, there's always something for you to learn from it. We managed to see some dolphins, so we were really happy about it. For me, one of the biggest learnings here is, just the ability for us to meet many different people who we would not really have met in a more comfortable setting back home. It's stretched us in terms of being more tolerant. My driving skills has gotten better, so I defend my lane very well now. Last but not least, I think it's brought my wife and I closer. So for any one of you guys who are married or, going to get married, don't forget, happy wife, happy life. So yeah, but that's all for me. Thank you.
So, my name is Majid Al-Naimi. I work here at the Prime Minister's office as well. You mentioned funny things that we have the concrete jungle as well, right? I think you forgot the humidity. Our countries are both very, very humid countries. I had a work trip actually to Singapore recently where I spent 2 wonderful weeks in Singapore. It was more of a study benchmark trip where we visited the Prime Minister's office, the National Singapore University, and some private companies as well. The beautiful thing about both countries is that we do overlap in many, many aspects. Culturally, as you said, Josh, I think tolerance is a beautiful thing here in the UAE. As you know, we have a Minister of State for Tolerance as well. And I noticed that as soon as I landed in the airport at Singapore, where we were greeted with love and respect, and especially knowing that we're from the United Arab Emirates, we had wasta. So from that aspect as well, we see a lot of commonalities between a lot of the countries that reside in that area, as well as the way of governance. So on my study trip, I went to the Prime Minister's office and I saw how the PMO functions over there. And they have 4 pillars like we do over here, which is very interesting. They focus on leadership, public support, transport authority. So it kept on astonishing me more and more and more since I got to know the basis of the country as well. And I thought to myself, wow, this is like home to me as well. Humidity is there, good food's there, the way of governance is there, so great universities. And one thing that struck me as well is that how you guide your youth. So when I saw that the universities actually support youth in terms of entrepreneurship, I visited the university and we saw that they have a whole hangar, I think, an incubator for entrepreneurship, where they would support freshman students up to senior students to start and launch their entrepreneurial ideas, where they would push them to excel in ideas. For example, at the incubator, anyone has an idea here, you can go launch your idea there at the university and they would full-fledged support you until you reach that maximum %. We do have the same thing here at AUS, I believe it's called Shara', and the university allocates a space for you and support you until your idea kicks off, and maybe they'd invest in you. I don't know, they tell you not to.
This.
Sorry. So they tell you not to drop out of university if you actually kickstart your idea and you make it. But I think in terms of governance, in terms of the country and how it functions, in terms of the spirit that's available in the country, culture as well, it's a very, very interesting and beautiful country. For who did not visit Singapore, please go do visit it. They have a lot of attraction, Universal Studios, I might say, and the gardens, the botanic gardens, and I think the most interesting part is its people and how the people do come together and unite that country, which is a very, very beautiful aspect. that a lot of people take for granted, for example. The unity in that country is great. And that's one function that we can see that brings these countries together, for example, the UAE and Singapore. So unfortunately, I was only there for 2 weeks. Maybe I'll invite you for dinner. You'll invite me to Singapore? Thank you. Thank you so much.
Good evening, everyone. His Excellencies, thank you so much for hosting us this evening. I'm going to give you a little introduction to myself, but I think a lot of what I'm going to focus on tonight is about my experiences with government departments in Dubai. My name is Dinesh. I've been in the UAE for 7 years now. But before this, I spent 4 years in the US. So I've literally been away from Singapore for 11 years. But I've been very fortunate to be able to go back every year, at least three to four times a year, to see my family and my friends. So with what I do currently, I'm very fortunate to be able to interact with a lot of government departments, like I said, and one of that department is Dubai Police. And the reason why I bring them up is because they have a lot of interesting initiatives, and part of Dubai Police sort of drive is the whole happiness movement. And I think for me, that is very, very interesting. I don't think there's any other country in the world that's got a Minister of Happiness. So to me, that was very interesting. And I think part of my job allows me to interact with a lot of youth within that department as well. It's nice to see the drive that they have. And for me, it's particularly interesting because I actually did my national service in Singapore. So that's a new concept, and relatively new concept in the UAE, which you introduced as well. So I think we relate to that as Singaporeans. I served 2 years in the police force in Singapore. And so immediately I automatically hit it off with the officers here. You know, we share a lot of common interests. We went through the similar training exercises and exchange programs. Besides Dubai Police, I currently work with another government department, Dubai Tourism. I think there are some of my friends here who also work with them. That has actually changed my perspective on the UAE. I mean, I've been working with Dubai Tourism for almost 2 years now. And I've had the benefit of interacting with all levels of senior management down to the executives. And I think one thing that I get from the youth is that they look up to Singapore a lot. It really humbles me when they say that, oh, Singapore is great, you guys are leaders in this and that, you've got an amazing airport, one of the best airlines in the world. I look at all that, I feel proud, obviously, to be Singaporean, but at the same time, I feel that Dubai has got the platform and the capacity to do maybe a lot more than what Singapore has. I mean, especially during the time we live in at the moment. The reason why I say that is because I think I'm considering going down the entrepreneurial path. And maybe in the next few years of my life, it's going to be quite different. And I see that Dubai has got a fantastic infrastructure set in place for youth to become entrepreneurs. And in fact, we are sitting here tonight in a youth hub, which is essentially a shared office space to encourage innovation, creativity for youth. Dubai's economy is set to grow about 3% this year, if I'm not wrong. And I think over 90% of that growth is going to be driven by small and medium enterprises. So I think my essential key message is, if there's any youth, Emirati youth out here who have great ideas, innovative ideas, I would love to hear from you. And who knows, we could be working together in the near future. That's it from me. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I think I'll end up with something that I love. I'm an artist. I always introduce myself as an artist. One day, my manager, Saeed, told me to do like a study to visit Singapore. And that was the very first, and hopefully not the last, visit with work. So actually, I wanted to visit many places along with the government. So I'll tell you about the private and the government sector. So one of the things that I loved is the Singaporean Youth Festival. The Singapore Youth Festival, I think led by the Ministry of Education. So we met them there, the Ministry of Education. And I love the fact that they actually gather all Singaporean youth from different races and background, religion, through art, through music. That touched me a lot. So I believe that Singaporean youth really love art. So I've seen design everywhere. Every corner was wonderful. And I believe that we share that common thing with these Emirati youth. So all the youth hub design that you see here is designed by Emirati interior designers, and that was guided by them. The platform idea was by a youth called Azal Shamsi. So all of these places that you see was designed by youth, and we wanted to visit as well co-working spaces in Singapore. So it's the private sector there. And we visited as well design houses or studios. So I would like to see more designers collaborate, Singaporean designers as well as Emirati designers, so that that kind of soft power is sending the right message for the whole worldwide, hopefully. So thank you so much for coming, and I encourage all of you to use this space. This space is for everyone living in the UAE. Youth, they could book the spaces, and the space is for us to communicate with each other from different nationalities. And I hope this night is initiation for a dinner, for example, or a business idea, or an art project as well. So thank you so much. And right now, I would like to have the VIPs sitting in the majlis, per se, our modern majlis, so that the youth gather outside for a group picture. And then we could enjoy the dinner. Thank you so much. But before that, I would like to have the performer. She's a wonderful singer. Her name is Michelle Wong. She's actually living here in the UAE, and she would like to have a touching song for the National National Singaporean Day. Thank you so much.
Hello. Sorry, I'm a little underdressed. Yeah, okay, I can sit here.
Truly, there I know
Thanks so much.
We told you, that's amazing. Thank you so much, Michelle Wong. That is touching. Yep. I see some Emiratis crying as well. Mahra. So right now, His Excellency the Ambassador would like to have a gift for His Excellency Thani Ziyudi. So please, the stage.
This is just a token of our appreciation. May the UAE like a horse gallop ahead, and hopefully Singapore will be next to you.